Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Toolkit Tuesday. Today, in terms of our mental well-being toolkit, I want to talk to you a little bit about our emotional resilience. As you'll know, I talk about emotions a lot, and I firmly believe the adage that energy, emotion is what the word emotion means. We're all bundles of energy, and when our mood is really low, we'll feel sad and depressed or overwhelmed or stressed. When it's really high, we'll be as happy as Larry, pumped and ready and willing to go to face the day every day. And oftentimes, for many of us, there's very little in between. So for me, as with anything, keeping our emotions in balance is key. It's absolutely vital. And the way to do that, of course, you'll know what I'm going to say here, I'm sure most of you, is to make sure that we take care of ourselves on every level. Now, I firmly believe that the most important bank accounts that any of us will ever have are our 5 personal bank accounts that actually have nothing whatsoever to do with how much money or not you have in the bank. Our 5 personal bank accounts are quite simply our physical, our spiritual, mental, social, and emotional selves. What I know for sure is when any of these 5 personal bank accounts dip into the red, i.e. we become overdrawn, we become tired, we become stressed out, we become overwhelmed, those are the signals, guys, that if your bank accounts, your personal bank accounts are dropping into the red. Stress, overwhelm, overload, etc. are massive indicators that that's what's happening to you. If that's happening, you need to get back into the black as quickly as possible. It's rare for us to dip into the red in just one area of our lives. So physically, if we dip into the red, we're tired, we can't get out of bed in the morning, we just can't be bothered, essentially. That often goes hand in glove with our emotions. Our emotions we may be upset, we may be crying, etc. If these sorts of things are happening, it's a good clue that actually your emotional resilience is depleting in some way. Hashtag sanity, not vanity. I say it a lot, but it's true. The way to care for these 5 personal senses of self is to be aware of how you are feeling at any given time. Ask yourself, and again, I said this the other day in the post, check in with yourself regularly. How do I feel? That was about thoughts. That was about how we think. This is very much how we feel. How am I feeling today? I've just made that decision and actually it wasn't the right decision. You do things because you think you ought to, because you think it's expected of you, etc. And we never sort of take account of the fact often that we just don't stand back and go, actually, I don't want to do that because I'm too tired. Our emotional resilience, the way our emotions respond to the things that are happening around us every single day, are massive, massive red flags or green flags if we know what we're looking for. If you are tired, irritable, and stressed, you're emotionally almost certainly not in a good place. You might be physically tired. It might be your physical self that needs a bit of TLC. You might be emotionally drained, especially if you've had a significant emotional pain point recently and you feel as though you just can't cry anymore because you're all cried out. You might be totally stressed out and overloaded because you don't have enough time in the day. All of these things, guys, are emotionally based issues. And our emotional resilience is born on the fact of, yes, we when we overcome things and we sort of survive obstacles and challenges, yes, our resilience is built, our internal sense of resilience. Our emotions are slightly different in that we have to conversely do the opposite. We have to start to take care of ourselves more, which means that we maybe need to take a step or 2 or 3 further away from whatever the issue is before becoming more emotionally invested. The more emotionally invested we are in something, the less likely we are to consider the effect that it's having on our bodies and our minds The mind-body connection is completely solid in many ways until we, as a species, undermine it. We build our emotional resilience by acknowledging the things that are happening to us, or more importantly, because of us. Because there is a difference there, but that's a whole different story. When we acknowledge daily how we are feeling and then pay that forward in our heads in relation to the situation that's going off around us, or maybe happened yesterday, or we're worrying about something that might happen tomorrow, and we're already letting our emotions take control, we're on a hide into nothing. Mindfulness is key at keeping us centered. We all need our emotions to survive and be happy, but we need to look after them in such a way that it's us that is in the driving seat, not the other way around. So do things for you every single day that are going to feed your 5 senses of self. That will help to balance how you feel, and when your feelings are balanced, your emotions will follow suit. It might take a bit of time, but they will. Excuse me. So the 5 senses of selves need us to do something for our emotional resilience part of the toolkit every single day that feeds our need for physical exercise. It could be cleaning the house, walking the dog, going for a swim, yoga, Pilates. Our spiritual sense of self, that little small chestnut inside of all of us that makes us us, that bit that we know when we hit that sweet spot of happiness. Do something that keeps you calm. That will help you there. Meditation would be key. Physical, spiritual. Our emotions are all a sort of balance on the top of that, if you like. Our social selves, be social every day. You know, get out and speak to somebody. Don't become disconnected from the world around you. If you haven't seen anybody yet today, go out and find somebody to say hello to. Even if it's only the lady in the shop where you go buy a loaf of bread, go find somebody just to say hello to. And our mental well-being. Our mental well-being is the bit that struggles when our emotional well-being is in disarray. And our emotional well-being falls into disarray when we aren't looking after the whole package. We are a whole person. Our 5 senses of self make up that whole person. If you're not looking after each and every one of them and you want to know how, drop me a comment below, because it's a subject that I could quite literally talk about forever. However, for now, in terms of building your emotional resilience, your emotions, remember, your emotions will stay far more balanced if the other 4 senses of self are in alignment, if they're topped up every single day. Did a post last week and touched on the fact that we need to keep topping ourselves up daily to keep us on an even keel. These 5 senses of selves, they are our foundations. They're the foundations of our lives. When they're rocky, we start to get stressed and overwhelmed. When they become to the point where they're crumbling, we fall into the realms of illness, mental ill health, anxiety, panic. Physical illnesses start to manifest. Get your emotions in check. If you want a hand, let me know, and I'll see you tomorrow for Wisdom Wednesday. Have a fab day wherever you are in the world. Take care.